and old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. A fight is going on inside me, he said to his boy. It is a terrible fight, and it is between two wolves. One is evil. He's anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. He continued, the other is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person too. The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, which wolf will win? The old Cherokee simply replied, the one you feed. Albert Einstein once said, more the knowledge, lesser the ego. Lesser the knowledge, more the ego. Hi everyone and welcome back on Two Sides of a Coin. It is so wonderful that you keep coming back every week to grow with me, keeping me on my toes, making me understand different perspectives, and continue to create content for you. Today we're going to dive into self-esteem versus ego. Our extremely special guest for today is Subhash Dhang. He's the winner of Boogie Woogie in the year 1998, which was my favorite childhood show. Following which, he opened his own school of dance, YTA or Young Talent Association, which has grown over the years into a fabulous academy for dance instructors and aspiring dancers from Pune and Mumbai. An aspiring filmmaker, he has choreographed for various movies like Kites, Dunyadari, I Number One, and many more. He set a record in the Limca Book of Records for dancing non-stop 55 hours. He's the pioneer of Bollywood salsa in India, which includes fusing authentic salsa and Latino steps on Bollywood compositions. And I've been so fortunate to have learned salsa directly from him. He's not just a teacher or a coach, but also a friend. From the years that I've known him, I've never seen ego get the better of him, in spite of all that he's achieved. So let's talk about how he addresses self esteem versus ego. Thank you, sir, for being a part of this podcast. So I've observed, like you love being around people, and people also love being around you, whether it is the family of YTA or the audience you're hosting, or even the parents of your students. So I want to know, how do you
Okay.
connect with people so well? What is the secret behind that?
I think there's no secret like such. It is the way I am. Like I have been I am a little easy. Like I take little time to connect with people in the beginning,
Hmm.
but once I connect, I just open up and I'm my real self. So I think that is what the parents or my friends or my people or even my sometimes when I am in shoot, my crew members, they find me very honest and transparent.
Hmm.
And I also initially I used to feel a little shy or I used to not agree to it. They find me, okay, you're so down to earth
Hmm.
and that way. So transparent in my the way I am. Let it be the social world, the social media world, or let it be the physical world. I am the way I am. So I think that is why they probably feel very connected to me. And a friend at the same time, I'm a friend. It doesn't matter to me whether the student or a friend or a colleague of mine, if he or she is like a young teenager or he or a kid or my age. So I just try to blend with them with their maturity and with their interest, and I start talking. I think that is why probably the people feel connected with me. I would put the other way around. You have also been my student. I have taught you salsa.
Yeah.
Why do you think that I connect with you so well?
Yeah, I would love to answer this question. So, because I think the best part is that you are like a friend to us. I never felt that fear of, you are a teacher and I'm a student. You are very relatable. Also, you make us feel
Cool.
things are so easy. You don't create that guard, like how people create a guard around them to, to keep their students at a distance. I don't think you do that.
Right. See, you've answered my question so your only question so well.
No, because that's what I think, but
Yeah.
I don't know what is the mentality or the mindset behind that person.
No, no, this is high. I think the base rule is that only be yourself, be natural, and that is what makes you if that honesty is seen in your body language and the energy is seen in your body language, people do connect. This has been my experience whenever I'm on stage or in general with people when I talk. This is what I felt.
Hmm. Like, as you said, you talk to people according to their understanding, according to their maturity. Like you have dealt with students of all ages, from like kids to adults and older people. But like,
Right.
sometimes when we interact with older people we are different. When we interact with kids, we are different. How do you manage that? Like be yourself as well, and plus be
I think
yeah.
what happens, yeah, I got what you are asking me. It's like, what happens, I'll tell you. For example, like when I'm talking to you, Aishwarya, see, so you have been my student, and now when we are, so it's always been like, okay, which is the right, whenever I'm talking to you, guiding you in the right part, either let it be dance or life. But when suppose I'm speaking to someone who is elder to me, so वहाँ पे I more than putting my viewpoints too much, I become a good listener. Though we need to be a listener
Hmm.
everywhere, I just keep my mouth shut and I be a good listener. Try to listen to whatever he or she wants to talk to me or tell me, and then automatic, the more we listen, they feel that, oh, this guy is so nice, and he listen, like, he hears me out, or and without passing any judgment, I'm just there, I don't pass a judgment at that point, unless and until he or she will open up saying that what is your viewpoint. So I think that comes through experience, also blending with different age category, and also it has come through the field which I am.
Hmm.
I'm in a people's field where I'm dealing with kids as well as teenagers as well as grown-ups.
Hmm.
So I come as an experience down probably 20 years down the line, I may not be able to connect so well to the elders. I was more interested being with my peer group, being in the early 20s,
Hmm.
so enjoying with them. But as time progressed, parents, students parent, or in general, when I started meeting other people or attending a lot of meetings, I realized that it is important to listen and just see their viewpoint, and only if they talk or they ask me, then I give my viewpoint. So I think I've learned in this phase how to be a good listener. Automatic, then people started loving me or liking me towards probably when I, or they connect to me when I start talking.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point. And that is why probably people
Right,
open up so much to you.
right, right, right.
None of us are perfect. So, there has to be somewhere, some time when your ego has taken over. And probably it could be a film set where you're working, where there are ego clashes happening all the time, which has happened with me also.
Hmm.
So, can you share one
Right,
instance
right.
like this and what did you learn from that instance?
Okay. So, see what I would say. See, every human being has these pluses and minuses. Only thing, when when that particular emotion is loaded with a little bit of negative approach, it becomes difficult. So, what I would say that keeping a self-esteem is would be more appropriate. I'll
Hmm.
give an example of my shooting days. This was the first time that I got I was doing this film called as Chitrakut.
Hmm.
It's an indie movie yet to be released.
Hmm.
So in that there were a couple of established actors as well as a lot of freshers.
Hmm.
At the same time, the production, because it was a very budgeted kind of film. At the same time, the production people, the company whom the director had hired,
Hmm.
was not very known, but at the same time, it was a pretty experienced production company. So they came to know, okay, like, the all the assistants who were working with this director were freshers.
Hmm.
So their approach towards dealing with us changed, because at that point their ego came that okay, we are seniors and we can control them or something, but they did not know the fact, because I've been running a dance school for so many years, I've got used to handling different people.
Hmm.
So क्या हो रहा था कि every day in the morning, they were sometimes, they were ill treating us, right? कि बाकी सब लोगों को breakfast दे दिया, हमको थोड़ा late दे रहे हैं, or not giving us on time, or sometimes they were not communicating with us that the actors have left from the hotel, so keep things ready over here or something like that. So I don't know what the plan was. They were trying to overpower the directors or the entire assistant team. We were three assistant altogether. So what I did was, after the shoot got over, 1 day, 2 day, after 1 week, I went and spoke to the production head. The head was not there most of the time. His assistant was completely handling it. So I spoke to him, asking him nicely that what the issue is. Like, is the issue me or my team, or is the issue that you're not getting your space? The scheduling में हमारे से कुछ गलती हो रहा है, या हम बराबर से आपको communicate नहीं कर पा रहे. Then the moment I started communicating, when I started talking, till then, we were just doing a hi hello. So when I started talking to them and explaining them कि see, we are running out of time, if you give us a nice schedule much in advance, we'll be able to execute it, even the shooting plans and all. So the more I started speaking to them, they realized, okay, he's transparent, he's trying to find out a solution. So automatic, and he thought that we had attitude, because we never used to speak, we were doing our job. And at the same time, we thought that, because हम हमारे काम में busy थे, तो हमें ऐसा लग रहा था कि वो ज्यादा attitude में हमसे बात कर रहे हैं. But the moment we sat across the table and spoke, everything just fizzled, evaporated like anything, and we were able to see what the solutions are. Okay, and towards the end, the film was more important. So automatically, even he started from the next date. Okay, Subhash bhai, aisa karte hai. What do you think about it? At the same time, I also started asking him, how do you want to schedule tomorrow's day? So then, the solution automatically started cropping up. Automatic. So I thought the keyword was communication. Sometimes we think because he's behaved a little rough with us, or he's not spoken nicely at that particular time, because probably he was busy, or because he had a lot of things to line up, we as the directors team, we took it that okay, they are having a lot of ego. But it was not that. He was trying to do his job, I was trying to do my job, we were trying to do our job. So when we sat on the table, we found out a solution ki aisa karte hai. So that's how I handled that situation. So I would like to give you one more example where at one given point the ego took over me, and then later on how I resolved it. So there was this choreographer who is also well known now. So I was into this wedding industry where I choreograph premium level, perform and do shows. So there was this new choreographer who came up for the past 3 years, and he made a good name. Honestly, he made a good name. His work is also equally good. But at that point, wherever I was going for meetings, sometimes I used to lose that show, and he used to get it, and vice versa. So one show went down, two show went down, three show went down. Then we asked, "अरे उसके पास चला गया है." So automatically you start getting jealous. So when I used to go for all these meetings, and people used to see, they also need business, they also need some saving to be done. So they say, "अरे वो तो इतना और कम में कर रहा है, आप क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो?" So for to negotiate. So at that time, my ego is to come in between, that why do I get my rates down, one, or why do I need to be compared to that particular choreographer? So initially, in the first 1 or 2 times, I used to defend that. Automatically, मेरे से ज़्यादा उसका automatic the scale will go more towards my competitor. Though I've not told anything bad about him, but of course work wise I used to compare कि उसका ये खराब है या मेरा ये अच्छा है. So in that my tone, I used to double triple times I realized that I used to say negative about his work. So that was my ego which was coming in between, and I realized because I was saying subconsciously wrong about that, about the performances, not about the person, but about their company. Most of the time, I never used to get those projects. So Next time what I started doing ki when I realized ki why I'm getting so uneasy about it, why I'm feeling so negative about it. Okay, it is work. People go to the mall, they like they want to shop a good dress for them, they go, they choose 4 5, and whatever is comfortable with them, they'll buy that na. So
Right.
that should not bother me that someone has called me. They are here to buy my product. They will see my product. If they like that and they're comfortable with it, they'll buy it. Even if the price means A or B, whatever. If they really like it, they'll buy it. Sometimes the budget is the issue. They've liked it, but they don't want to sell the budget. They'll go to the other person. So then I just switched my mindset. I stopped speaking bad about anything. Automatically, I've realized because of my that positive turnover, many people started giving me the shows, or even if they did not give me the show, they used to very positively say that this is a budget issues, so we are going ahead with so and so. So yeah, it was wonderful. Once I had that switch over, it became so nice and so peaceful for me also, and for the client also. Where अगर उनको मुझे देना है, they give the show to me. If they have an issue with the budget, they honestly speak to me up and say that we want to hire you, but the budget is the issue, so that I can give them a little more discount and get the show. Or sometimes they say no, we have liked him, so we'll go ahead with that. So that honestly, that kind of dealing started happening for the past, you can say 2 3 years, where my peace of
Mm-hmm.
mind is also there, and I have won over my this negative aspect. Now it doesn't bother me a lot.
So basically, your self-esteem allow you to, deal with this positively
Yes,
rather than
yes. I
negatively.
this is also because I'll tell you, the show was all about the teachings of Lord Mahavir. It was a contemporary
Mm-hmm.
show.
Yeah,
So
I
uske
remember.
andar I learned when I was doing the research way back 4 5 years back. I came across they have this three ideologies which they believe into. In Sanskrit, it is Samyak Gyan, okay,
Hmm.
Samyak Gyan, Samyak Charitra, Samyak Darshan. Okay,
Okay.
Samyak Gyan, Samyak Darshan, Samyak Charitra. In short, it means right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct. So,
Hmm.
when you have the right knowledge of what you do, automatically, whatever you're doing, that faith increases positively. Because when you know your work very well,
Hmm.
you know what I'm going to deliver is nice. So you'll have faith in your work. And automatically, when you
Right.
have a very good knowledge of that particular thing, your conduct, your behavior pattern will also change. So if you're positive, the entire approach will become positive. So instead of feeding your self-esteem too high and turning it into ego, you turn your
Hmm.
self-esteem into a V kind of option where you are working for you and your team, and you move ahead. So I think this is one philosophy subconsciously probably which went into my head. Probably that is how my working culture has changed in the past 3 years, you would say.
Wow. So basically, having faith in what you do, and because you also equipped with the right knowledge, you
Yes.
can conduct yourself properly.
So when we are equipped with the right knowledge, you'll come to know, okay, this is what I did. Like you've also done production work, so you know that in the initial stage there are so many mistakes that you might have done, and now when you are a little more better inline producer, when you start working, you know that मैंने ये कर चुका हूँ, so now I'll be able to do it more efficiently. So automatically क्या हो जाता है, when you are equipped with the right tools and the right knowledge, your ego won't come in between. Even if someone shouts at you, or even if someone comes and just says, so your maturity wise you are doing your job right, so you don't overreact to that.
Hmm.
Everything happens because of that reaction. There are most of the time when I'm in an event also, there are these other people like the event guys, the subordinate event guys who don't know me, I'm doing my work, and they say कि नहीं ऐसा नहीं मुझे ऐसा चाहिए, but I don't react much, because it is wastage of time. In fact, when the time comes and when the show is on, they'll realize, oh god, he's the same guy who was like, you know things just falls in place. You don't need to overreact unless and until sometimes you have come across someone who has that completely negative approach. Even if you do good, there are some people who will always
Yeah.
find fault in you. and then you need to really fight for it and just say. So people might think that you are egoistic, but you are not egoistic. You are holding your self-esteem, that you know what your work is, you've done your best, and still if the samne wala is not trying to understand or does not respect that, then it is better to hold your self-esteem and move away from there. It's not ego at that point.
Hmm. Wow. Who want to build their self-esteem and handle their ego.
I don't know what advice can I give, because see, every human being is different. uh, किसी को
Mm-hmm.
some लोगों को लगेगा, some people are born with say low self esteem. That could be because of the conditioning which has happened with them during their growing years. So the only advice I would like to share through my experiences, like even when I started, I did not had the power to communicate with a lot of people. I was a very introvert. In fact, I used to during my school days, I used to stammer a lot. इतना मेरा self esteem low था. So what
Mm.
happens, like when you get your hook of what I'm good at, ऐसा
Right.
होता है ना बहुत से टाइम कि we don't know what we want to do in life. So once we
Mm.
get to understand कि what we want actually from life, उसमें हमें confidence आता है. तो जो चीज हम अच्छे
Mm-hmm.
कर सकते हैं, उसको अगर हम पॉजिटिवली आगे बढ़ाते हैं, ऑटोमेटिकली उसके अंदर हमारा सेल्फ एस्टीम बड़ा होता है, बढ़ने लगता है अच्छे तरीके से. और जब वो चीज में हम एक्सेल करने लगते हैं, देन दैट इज द फेज जहां पे यू नीड टू बी ग्राउंडेड. द मोमेंट यू आर नॉट ग्राउंडेड एट दैट पॉइंट, your self esteem will go on a heavier side, and that is the time the ego will come into the picture. So at that time, you know that how you were as a person when you started off. So the more you think we instead of I am like this, I am going to do like that. So I think वो I हटा के think about we, think about your teammates,
Mm-hmm.
think about your colleagues, think about your family, and make it into a we. Then things become more easier for you. Otherwise, like how in the social media, everything is happening. If you see, it is more of an I thing which is going on. There's nothing like we happening. That,
Mm.
or it should be, even if you're doing it for yourself, you are you're connecting it to the outer world in a positive manner. When that happens, for example, you are a great say orator, and once you're talking about positive things for the society, you automatically, your self-esteem is getting good, building up. And at the same time, it's not an ego, but it is where you are trying to help the people around. Or me also, if I'm doing dance, I'm just not helping my fraternity due to this whatever ups and downs are happening in life. I'm also helping younger choreographers who want to build their own career. So when
Mm-hmm.
that I become me, that ego diminishes automatically. You are just working for everyone's growth. I hope that answers well to your question.
Yeah, this was an eye-opener, in fact. Okay. The last question I would like to ask you is, what is the most important lesson that you've learned in the past year?
The past year is including the corona also, the
Yes.
lockdown.
Yes, including the lockdown.
Yeah. This lockdowns में मुझे ज़्यादा, means last year I am including the lockdown 6 months also. So
Mm-hmm.
it did not affect me as a person much, because I love being indoors, I love being in my own space. But because there was no work, there was no work at all for 3 to 4 months. Though
Mm.
the editing and all those things were happening, uh, it didn't affect me much. But I just felt कि we need to be more human, have empathy, like be compassionate towards our colleague, our people, and not only humans, loving nature also. Like just be with
Mm.
nature, it gives you so much energy. That is what I felt. That has changed me as a person. Like I always used to love nature, but now have mellowed down more. I have mellowed down more. So this was one major turning point in me, where I have become like, I have started seeing myself from within. Pehla I was just working for people and for family. What I mean is, like, ki, this lockdown has taught us upper class, lower class, upper niche kuch nahi hota hai. It has got everyone on the same platform. We have
Yeah.
become like a handicap, and we've realized that it is so important that in small, small things also, this world can run. एंड हम लोग उसको
Yeah.
कितना मैकेनिकल कर दिया है, हमने इसे कितना रोबोटिक कर दिया था. So at that time also, say I won't boast, like even I used to love going out, spend some money, spend some luxury holidays. वो सब मैंने भी किया है, but at the same time I used to be connected to nature. But इस लॉकडाउन के दौरान I've realized it कि all these things, are they really important? There are so many beautiful things with family that we can do, and it has also made me realize, this 1 year has made me realize that it is better to be with the family because they are the ones who are there connected with us. What we do, we being from the entertainment industry,
Hmm.
we switch to Bombay, we are working there, then we get another group there, and then we are like sailing in another boat.
Right.
And uh, when we are sailing in that boat, it's fine, we're enjoying, and then one fine day we realize that we are so lonely or alone at some point when we don't get that kind of success, you know. And see,
Right.
I've been like, you would say that I have an established dance school in Pune and everything is going, but I am struggling to be a filmmaker for more than, you can say, 10 to 12 years. Okay, it's not that
Hmm.
I'm not getting work, I'm getting work, but you know, वो बोलते हैं ना कि एक click होना बहुत जरूरी है, which will change the entire thing. But for that, being uneasy, being unpeaceful doesn't make sense. So being with with our family is so important, that even if you don't achieve that dream, your main dream is like your child is growing, your mom is there, your dad is there, you know, you are spending and all those were done during the lockdown, you know, where we were connecting to smaller people, we're connecting to our school students, our colleagues, our friends, and things were like, you know, back to square one. And I think that made me realize that it is so important to be compassionate towards everyone. Like, you know, it's not
Hmm.
about good, bad. Sometimes you just love yourself and you love who's around you, because you never know what life is. You know, आगे क्या है, no one can predict it. So that is what has taught me, and I think not only me, might be with you also, and many of them, ki stay connected, grounded to your family. That's
Hmm.
the base and an underlying thing that I've learned कि काम बहुत करूंगा मैं, but stay connected to your family as much as you can. When I say family, it does not mean only your mom, dad, or only your wife, husband, whatever. I mean connected to your core members.
Hmm.
We as humans, we know what our pluses and minuses are. So I think this
Hmm.
is one of the nature which I think, or it has come into my genes through my parents.
Hmm.
Like my
Hmm.
mom and my parents are no more, but you know, they are the ones who have kept me grounded always. And also, like, you know, we've come from a very humble background. You know, we've seen the highs and we have seen the lows also. Like my
Hmm.
we used to have a gold shop. My dad was a goldsmith. So we during my school days, I have seen a luxury life, and during my high school days and college life, I have seen poverty also. So when you see different graphs in your life, automatically life teaches you, and you start being ki there's nothing that we can, you know, be egoistic or very proudy about. It is better to be neutral, and I think that has come
Hmm.
to my parents. They learned how to be grounded. And what happens, many people keep on saying, Arey, how come you're down to earth, down to earth? So now to keep that image also, I've become a down to earth. By the time I was 24, 25, I knew what life was all about. Yeah, I didn't live my teenage life the way I should have. Masti wala, this I was very focused then also. I don't repent though, but yes, I've lost on that period where the youngsters, where the teenagers have a blast. I was very serious because there was a responsibility given on my head from a very early age. So all, I think these are all conditioning which made me the person who I am today. So there is
Hmm.
no, it's a science behind it, and it comes through nature. You have that basic animal instinct, or you can say that instinct which is there. Some people are really outgoing, some people have it in them कि मैं, I am proudy, I am selfish, I am this. It's only when there are experiences, high and bad experiences, which keeps hitting them, they realize कि all these traits are of no use, and it is better to just be simple, organically neutral with everyone, and things work well.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
for being on there on this podcast, and thank you for so much knowledge.
I, my pleasure. My
Yeah.
pleasure. Thank you so much.
Let's part today with a dialogue said by Amir Khan in the movie Gajni. मैं कर सकता हूँ ये मेरा आत्मविश्वास है मैं ही कर सकता हूँ ये मेरा अभिमान है अभिमान घर पर छोड़ के आइए और आत्मविश्वास के साथ आइए I would also like to share a quote from Deepak Chopra. The ego relies on the familiar. It is reluctant to experience the unknown, which is the very sense of life. And with that, we have come to the end of the third episode. Thank you to each and every one of you for listening and supporting this podcast. And I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to serve you guys. This is a beautiful process that I'm going through, and I owe it to you guys. You can reach out to me, share with me how this podcast has helped you, and share it with others to help them deal with their dualities. I am Aishwarya Bogam on Instagram and Facebook, spelt as Aishwarya Bogam. You can listen to this podcast on Google Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, and the other podcast platforms that you listen to. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share it because there are those who need it. Thank you guys, and let's spread love and joy. See you in the next episode. Spontaneity versus routine. And with that, we've come to the end of the third episode. Thank you to each and every one of you for listening and supporting this podcast. I am so grateful to have this opportunity to create this content for you guys, and I love the process that I'm going through, and I owe it to you guys. You can reach out to me and share with me how this podcast has helped you, share it with others so that they can deal with their dualities. I am Aishwarya Bogam on Instagram and Facebook, spelled as Aishwaryabogam. You can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and the other podcast platforms that you listen to. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share it because there are those who need it. Thank you guys, and let's spread love and joy. See you in the next episode. Spontaneity versus routine. I am Aishwarya Bogam on Instagram and Facebook, spelled as Aishwaryabogam. You can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and the other podcast platforms that you listen to. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share it because there are those who need it. Thank you guys, and let's spread love and joy. See you in the next episode. Spontaneity versus routine.